Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks since I began the basement Reno project, and I finished the framing and all the electrical connections. So the demo went fine, as described in the first video. I was able to do it without hurting myself, thankfully. But the old gym wall, as you could see by the scar on the floor, was right there. So it's gone. In its place, I built a new 2x6 wall, only to encompass the beam. So an expensive way to get rid of this darn beam. And so, like I did in my former basement job, I have roughed in a 48-inch French door that'll open into the room that I am now standing in. But it increases the size of my home gym considerably from what it was before, and as it was shown on the previous video. And then as far as this room goes, all I really did was cut the carpeting that used to be on the floor here up to the scar on the floor that I mentioned. I did rip down all the paneling that was on this wall, but I did not. That was the only wall that was built by the former person that I left. I thought it was fairly substantial, and I want a closet there anyway, so we kept that. We're just going to drywall rather than panel that. And then this here wall will also, all the paneling was removed, and I'm going to drywall it, but I tore it all down and rebuilt it so that it is a lot stronger and straighter. And then the 2x2s here, he actually had that like this before in order to miss the beam so that we can drywall over the beam. Now on this side, as you can see, what I did is I kind of cobbled an old door I found on Facebook Marketplace. There was this hand-built thing that he had in there, but I got a left pull door so I don't hit myself in the head every time with this here, but you can see what I had to do with the jamb. Since I'm not finishing the inside of this room and it will be a closet, great. So the outside will look like a normal wall once it's finished. The other thing I did in here is there was a pull chain light right here. I just moved it to there and added a decent switch. I'm not into pull chains. It's a lot easier when your arms are full of stuff. Okay, next, the utility room. There was no utility room before. You could see I stick built all that. I gave myself an adequate amount of room. I've got louvered doors for these spaces, and they're basically French doors. They will just completely open out. I'll have adequate room to get at the furnace and the hot water tank, which will go here. So plenty of room there. I still haven't cut out the treated lumber. Now what I found interestingly is that the guy who did this before did not use treated lumber against the concrete, which I did, as you can see everywhere. And I remember there was quite a bit of mold in the wood that I pulled off. And some of it could be nasty. Definitely was, there was some odor involved with that. This is not a cobbled mess. I actually ran two wires down the same conduit. One is 12-2 and the other 14-2. The treadmill is on a dedicated 20 amp circuit. I'm just running it down the same and mounting it off the one, but they're entirely separate. And then back here, it was just crazy. All the wiring for the TV and the internet. I've got Cat 5. all over the house, thanks to the phone guy who built this. If you're lucky enough to have a house from 2004 or 5, they probably use Cat 5e cable for the phone line, so everything's pre-wired for hardwire internet. Although you don't really need it, it's nice to have. I also added a light in my utility room, and an outlet. Now, regarding the lights, all I did was kind of pre-wire. I just bought cheap bulb bases for now because I just haven't decided yet what I'm going to do regarding lighting, but everything's there. So when I do decide what I'm going to do with lighting, when the thing's finished, I don't have to worry about wiring. In fact, all of the electrical as of today is done, thank goodness. I don't like doing electrical work at all. It's very tedious. So the next step, I wanted to get all that electrical done because I am going to paint the ceiling black. I like to use Sherwin-Williams Dryfall rather than this ugly pink color he must have got a really good deal on. Chartreuse or whatever. Can't wait till that's gone. The paneling is gone now, and pretty soon the ceiling will be all black. The other thing I did is I rebuilt the closet. I call this my sump closet over here. And I added another door that I found on Facebook Marketplace. And then over here, I got a sliding mirror glass door. Obviously, it's a gym. And then along this wall, my plan is to have mirror glass all along that wall. In fact, I've got a shiny chrome cover for another 20 amp circuit I added for a future elliptical machine, hopefully, over here on this wall, so that I don't have to cut into my work in the future. In fact, that'll be a little driving force to get me to go and get a nice Precor elliptical machine for my new gym. In here, though, this will be where I keep all my tri-gear. I'll be able to basically take everything that's in that ugly thing over there, that white closet. Contains all of my clothing, my bike clothes, my wetsuits and all that. I'll build nice rod over there for hanging everything, and then shelves along this wall, maybe along that wall, and again, sliding mirror glass here. What we did is I did borrow an idea from the guy that was here before, but this is kind of up here, roughed in for a plexiglass piece that's going to go in there so that the only natural light in the basement is not blocked off by building a closet. I put in a light in here too. It's a nice LED lamp. In fact, it's nearly daylight in there. And yes, it looks like a cobbled mess here between the two rooms. But so what? It's a half wall. All I want is a partition between the sump and my tri-closet so that I can put shelves up on this here wall. So yeah, you know, I basically used all the 2x4s, you know, that he had built that cobbled mess with. So louvered doors on this side for the utilities. Sorry about the panning again. Mirrored doors over here. A future mirrored wall over here. I priced it about $1,000 if I don't do the work. And then, as I said in the first video, brick wall, brick wall, brick wall will be painted faux brick by my lovely wife. Drywall, nothing in there. I'm not going to do anything. Paint this brick here. This will be drywall here, and a 48-inch French door here. As of today, as I mentioned, maybe electrical is done completely. Thank goodness. Especially the 20. I hate working with number 12. And all the framing is done. It's time for paint. So let's get at it. I've got everything tucked away nicely as I could. Everything used to be a mess up here. It'll all be black. Nobody will see it. internet, cable, power. Let's go paint.